how actually children, they develop their language syntactic. Syntax is very important. How actually children, start arranging words. As far as syntax is concerned, and syntax basically we see that how words are arranged. I mean, structural study of language, how sentences, phrases, clauses, they are organized. Okay, before I proceed, I want to ask one question to all of you. Do you know the word? There is a word bootstrap. Anybody?
Yes, sir.
If you do not know bootstrapping, it means you have not gone through the handouts I shared. Am I right? Will you please talk to me or not? Anybody? Bootstrapping. I mean, in one of the handouts, it has been mentioned. एक होता है bootstrapping, syntactic bootstrapping. Right? And the other word that we normally use is called semantic bootstrapping. That means you didn't go through that one.
No, sir, sorry.
Basically, as far as the word bootstrapping is concerned, chale, I'm starting in the middle now. Bootstrapping basically, it refers to the, possibility, right? That skills in one area help the child or the learner to develop competencies in another area. And if you are learning language, then learning those competencies in another area of language. For example, let me give you one example that you are basically playing hockey. But while you are playing hockey, you are also learning how you can play football. Okay. So when you use this one in bootstrapping, it means that through syntax, you are learning words, and through words, you are learning meanings. So syntactic bootstrapping and semantic bootstrapping. So the handout I have already shared with you people, if you just go through the handout, you can very easily read this stuff. Okay. So can anybody explain to me now? Bootstrapping, right? So, I mean, at early stages, syntactic bootstrapping, yes, syntactic bootstrapping and semantic bootstrapping, right? So this is something that you should know. And I remember in one of my classes, I told students to learn this stuff. MLU. What is MLU? Length unit. We'll talk about it today. Like when children, they are learning something, they're basically, going through this stuff, MLU. At the end, I'll talk about MLU, right? Now, well, students, so as I told you, the objective of today's class is that we'll be talking about how children develop their syntax, how they try to, start arranging words. And as I've told you multiple times that in different regions, in different languages, children, they develop differently. For example, as far as the families of languages are concerned, I mean, the British English language, for example, those families where we have French, where we have German, where we have English. So those languages, they have their own family. So the languages we speak here in Pakistan, these are in fact the languages of Indo-Aryan languages. We call it
Indo-Aryan.
We call it. I was thinking of one thing that I should do this. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
This one, you see, Indo-Aryan languages, right? Now we are from Indo-Aryan languages. So as I explained previously to all of you that in English, we have SVO or we have SVA or we have SVC. These are major three structures that we have in English. We have these three major structures, right? Now what do we mean by these major structures? What is common in all these? S and V. O, A, C, it's uncommon, fine? So how actually we can differentiate? I would just like to explain this thing today to all of you. These A and C that I have separated, in fact, they are not a part of sentence. Your sentence is complete here. This is your sentence, this is your sentence, and this is your sentence, right? In English language, we have these basically three structures. Now, what actually we say this thing, what is verb, okay? This basically makes the difference that what is going to come after. Now, such verbs where you have object also, these are called transitive verbs, and a sentence which ends on verb and it does not take anything else, right? This is called intransitive, and this verb that you are having here, which takes a complement, this is called, do I need to write these names or I think you understand all this stuff, right? So these verbs are called linking verbs, okay? Now here object means, O means object. Like there are verbs, they come together, like they take an object. If you don't put an object afterwards, those verbs are incomplete. For example, I eat. So the sentence is incomplete. Why? Because the verb is transitive. The transitive verb requires one object. Secondly, this verb, for example, I run, it's complete, right? So it does not necessarily take an adverb. But as far as this structure is concerned, even here you can write adverb and you can write as many adverbs as you want. A, like this. You can put here it's up to you how many adverbs you like. But now, as far as the position of adverbs is concerned, one of the adverbs, what we call adverb of frequency, it does not come at the end of a sentence. It comes before the main verb at times, and sometimes after the main verb. There is the only adverb in rest of the adverbs. For example, let me give you an example so that you understand this stuff. I read a book. No, this will come here, not here. Control X and it comes here. You see, I read a book. Okay, this is subject, verb, and object, right? After this, you can write adverb. For example, as silently in the kitchen at night at around 11 o'clock. You see, now all these are adverbs, right? And this one actually is the object. This is the verb. Similarly, you can do here, for example, I jog. No, it does not need an object. I jog past in the part of the garden, okay, on the footpath, right, at 7 a.m. You see, now all these are adverbs or parts of adverbs. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Now, basically, this is syntax. Now, what is the third structure of English language? Third structure is that you say, I am happy. She feels sad. I mean, these are the verbs. I mean, the be verb or this feel. Or for example, when you say, it sounds good. Now, you see here, this is a compliment. This is a compliment. This is a compliment, right? Now, what actually happens? Now, this one is verb. Okay, these ones, right? These three are the you see, these three that we have written here, am, feels, and sounds, these are basically linking verbs. Okay, they link the subject with the complement. Now, this happy, right, actually is the state of I. This sad actually is the state of she. Now, there is a difference basically. You must try to understand these three structures. What actually is the difference? The difference actually is when you use this verb, this is direct. I am happy. It shows 100% that yes, you are happy. But when you say she feels happy, it does not mean that she is happy, but it's a feeling kind of stuff. And such sentences, they are called less dogmatic sentences. It sounds good. It seems nice, right? Not it is nice, but it seems nice. Okay. Now, children, when they are learning these languages, I mean, English language sort of thing, this one, they go through this structure, SVO, SV, or SVC. What is happening with these Indo-Aryan languages? I mean, Pashto, Pahari, Saraiki, Balochi, Punjabi, and so on and so forth. All these languages. Now, in these languages, our structure is this. Okay, and one important aspect of these languages is, okay, so whenever we're just trying to talk about, I mean, we are learning these languages, right? So we need to understand that actually our languages are different from those languages. I mean, the families of those languages that I just talked about. I mean, in German, in Spanish, French, for example, what is their structure? And the languages we have, what is our structure? These two are entirely different things. Okay, now in Indo-Aryan languages, what happens? These languages, the focus is on subject, the focus is on subject, and the focus is on, like they say, I am happy, I am working. Okay, what are you doing? But in Indo-Aryan languages, the focus is not on the subject too much. For example, you might have seen usually what happens that we say to our parents, like khana pak gaya hai, halaki who cooks the food, mother or you. तो can't we say कि क्या आपने खाना बना लिया है? No, we say खाना पक गया है. अगर आपका mobile phone, for example, it falls off the desk or it falls off the table wherever you are. So what actually we say? मेरा मोबाइल गिर गया. क्यों? I mean, is your mobile an animate object or inanimate object? Is it a living thing or a non-living thing? So why do you say that मेरा मोबाइल फोन खुद ही गिर गया? Like, it doesn't fall. You do something. You hit it, you push it, and it falls off the place where it is. So actually, in our languages, most of our people are worried about active and passive. Or mostly when we say कि खाना पक गया है, तो वो कहते हैं it's a passive voice. It's not a passive voice sentence. Rather, our language is less agentive language, which is a type of passive voice. So my basically why I started all this discussion was that we are from Indo-Aryan languages. Indo-Aryan languages have, two, three different important aspects. Number one, Indo-Aryan languages actually they do not very often talk about the subject. They stay away from the subject. Number one. Number two, in these languages, whenever we are talking about, our structure is different from the languages that are our target languages, for example English language. Third point is that we try to pronounce each and every sound that exists in our languages. Understand? When you recite the Quran, you recite each and everything, and you do not remove even a single sound. Removal of sound changes the meanings. No, but as far as English language and its family is concerned, their elision is very much common. They, elide certain sounds. So these kind of differences these languages have. Now, our children, when they acquire Indo-Aryan languages and they want to target a language which is not an Indo-Aryan language, they have problems while they are learning. Why? Because L1 intervenes L2. For example, look at this one. Here we have, subject. So we also have subject. Here they have, a verb, we have object. And here they have object, we have verb. So these kind of problems we have. Similarly, you see A is here, but we add A here at times. And verbs comes at the ends. At the end, verbs mostly they come at the end. So these are the major differences when our children, they start learning one language. So this background was quite important to have been given to you people before I, go for the syntactic development of the son of the doctor. I hope most of you know about the doctor. Do you know about doctor?
Yes, sir.
I explained it in some of the classes. So basically, our children, they are learning, they're acquiring SOV, but the doctor's sons, they are acquiring SVO. So SOV, when they change and they will go towards SVO, then there are certain problems. There are certain issues. Whenever they speak, people or teachers, they stop them. They say, "Oh, what have you done? What is this? This is wrong English. This, and that." But actually, I disagree to what all this is happening here. Anyhow, there are two important things you have to remind me. One thing is I was just talking about MLU, and the other test is that we call is a mock test. These two things we have to talk at the end, if you please remind me, and then I'll be talking about the stages that they go through. Right? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hamza, how many people have joined? Because I'm, with the MS Word stuff, I'm writing things here. Is Hamza here?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
58.
He's here.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Last time we had 92 people, but this time we have 58, no problem.
Yes,
Okay.
sir, many students are absent from our class.
Why?
No idea. Total 57 students are here.
Okay, no problem. Okay, one important aspect. Children, they are never bilingual. Whatever the language children they are learning, this is their one language. Even if they're mixing English and Urdu, they do not know what they are doing. But slowly and gradually, when they go to school and they start learning what is English and what is Urdu, once teachers they start teaching them, only then it happens. Otherwise, they are never aware of these kind of things. So you must remember, children, whenever they're acquiring a language, although they are acquiring more than one language at a time, but for them it is only one language. It's never two languages for them. Do you understand this point?
Yes, sir.
Yes. When they say कि मसलन मैं washroom जा रहा हूँ, so for them washroom is also the word of the same language, जिस language का word मैं है. So they never know that they are learning two languages. Why? Because they are doing everything unconsciously. So this point you must have in your minds. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes, please try to be with me. Okay, now let's proceed. Now, syntactic development, children. Now we are talking about this development in the, son of a doctor. Now, you know very well that babies, although it's a fact that babies learn how to speak at different rates. Almost, the little ones, the young kids, they basically learn how to form words, for example, when they are arranging words. And usually some theorists, they say that syntactic development starts at the holophrastic stage, and some say that it starts at the two-word stage. So the best idea, I think, is that we should accept that they start learning from two-word stage. Why? Well, why? Because when they are learning two words, so there is the stage where they are, say, start arranging words. Let me just write it here. Syntactic development, right? Forming sentences and arranging words. Okay. Now, when the child says Baba go, or the child says go Baba. So in any way, you see, the child has arranged the words, isn't it? Now,
Yes,
we
sir.
don't know. We have to figure out on our own. We have to find it out on our own. Actually, why he is saying Baba go or go Baba? Maybe both the sentences mean that Baba has gone to office or somewhere. But maybe the second sentence says that the Baba is standing right in front of the kid, and kid says that Baba, you please go. These are all possibilities. Okay, so I mean, this is the beginning of the syntactic stage. And you know what? When it happens, according to Burko and Brown, when they are 24 months old. I mean, at the age of 2 years, children. Now, when our kids do it, we need to figure it out, isn't it? I mean, if in our community, maybe the children they start two-word stage at 14 months, at 17 months. Once, some of the students, they're visiting some schools. When they bring that data to me, we'll see different aspects of language development of children in our schools. Okay. Now, basically, in just a few, short years, children, they go from no language at all to forming cohesive sentences, following grammatical rules. I mean, initially they have no words, they have no, sounds to speak, they have no words to speak. But in very short time, they start speaking sentences. So they go from no language to cohesive sentences, and those sentences which follow grammatical rules. So this process, when they go from no language to cohesive sentences, this process actually is called, what is this process called? Anyone? From no language to forming cohesive sentences
Child language development.
along with the rules is called,
Syntactic,
कुछ ना कुछ बोल दिया करें, syntactic development.
syntactic development.
Yes. Okay. So, Lady, I have written the definition also. It's for your ease now, right? What is syntactic development? You can, anywhere, anytime, you can talk about it, what actually syntactic development is. Right. That's great. Now, well, stage one. What is the stage one? Now, as I told you earlier, that some theorists, they say that from 12 and 18 months, when children, they go for the holophrastic stage, when they start using one word, right? So that they say that it is the stage one of syntactic development. For example, when a child says go, more, dog, right? So they say that, yes, this actually is the syntactic development in stage one. And also the stage two, right? Like when they start forming two word also. So holophrastic stage and two word combinations, that is called stage one. Is this point clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I hope whenever I need to write something, please let me know. I'll explain to you. Stage two. Now, again, all this what I'm talking about is I'm talking about the children of English language speaking countries. I'm not talking about the children of Indo-Aryan languages. Is it clear?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, in stage two, what happens? In stage two, what happens? All children, they move through different stages. I mean, stage one, stage two, stage three, stage four, stage five. So syntacticians, basically, or child language development theorists, they divide these stages into 5 stages. So all children, they go through these stages. But as far as English is concerned, again, I'm telling this thing again and again. And there are some classes where I couldn't tell about that, doctor. So I'll tell them on Monday or Tuesday if I get time and if I could remember this stuff. Important aspect, I have already told you, if you remember, that Indo-Aryan languages and English-speaking countries. Let me write this thing. I think this will be okay. Holophrastic stage, right?
Yes, sir.
And two-word stage, right? That is stage one, basically, when they use first word and when they start speaking 2 words. Then comes stage 2, right? Now, as I just told you that all children, they go through different stages. So in stage 2, what actually they try to learn is their sentences grow in length. This is something very important. What happens in stage 2? That in stage 2, their sentences, they grow in length. Like what happens? They go for 3-word stage, they go for 4-word stage, and so on. And also they begin to learn grammatical elements in stage 2, right? And that happens when it happens from 28 to 36. Let me just write 28 to 36. And what happens? Sentences grow in length. Sentences grow in length. And second aspect is that what happens, that they start learning grammatical aspects also, right? They also start learning what?
Grammatical
Yes, that's great. That's wonderful. You are with me. I know that. Then comes stage 3. Now, normally, what actually they do is they say that stage 3 is between, let's say, let me write stage 3. They say it is from 36 to 42 months, right? 36 to 42 months. Right? Now, what happens here? This is something very tricky. They say that in stage 3, it includes acquisition of irregular past tense words. I asked in some of the classes as well. Let me just write also irregular past tense. I mean, before that, what children do is that they learn regular past tenses, right? Here I need to mention something here. When I said that grammatical aspects, here they also learn, regular verbs. For example, children say, I go, I goed, I talk, I talked, right? I stand, I standed. That also happens in the second stage. But as soon as they enter 3 years, they say that children, they also start learning irregular past tense. Got the point? Similarly, they also learn, possessives. Do you know possessives? For example, they also learn, they say Baba car to Baba's car. So they also learn possessives. Yes, they also learn possessives during this stage. So see, this is the time when they, their speed of learning language, it increases. Got it? Also, that is the stage when they start, learning about the verb be. Now, verb be is very tricky. Sorry, here, like this. This verb be is very tricky. You know how in all other verbs it is call, called, called, go, went, gone. But this is be, is, am, are, is present, and was, were is past. So basically, this verb is very tricky. I can't explain much about it in the online class. Sometime when I have time, remind me, I'll tell you about the verb be, because be verb is also called the grandmother of English language. I mean, if you don't need even a verb, you can add the verb be and you can complete your sentences. Okay, so in this stage, they also learn about the verb be. This point is clear now?
Yes.
To stage 4. Stage 4. Now, according to those theorists, not according to me, remember, they say that stage 4 is, let me first write, stage 4. This is, where did the last one end? 42, yes. 42, yes. They say that it is from 40 to 46. That means stage 4 starts during stage 3. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Stage 4 is from 40 to 46. And now this is again very important and interesting for all of you, those who know about the doctor. It includes understanding of the articles. Oh my goodness. They say, oh, what happened? They say that at this stage, they learn articles. Oh my God. A and the. Like how children, they can add the articles. That is the stage when they learn this stuff. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Oh my God. When they start learning the article the. Okay? Yes. Articles. And then one important aspect at this stage is that they start learning this thing. She go to she goes. She goes, right? Because this is something very important, very interesting. As I told you in some of the classes in the last class, that it's mean. Do you remember? It's mean.
Yes, sir.
So it means she goes, he goes, I go. So these kind of construction, the children, they start learning in stage 4. Also, this is the stage of what we call over regularization. ये भी बात मैं आपको explain करूँगा in detail. They start learning regularization and over regularization. Okay, that is the point. For example, they say my foots, okay, my teeth, and so on. Why? Basically, the regularities of language, they are called let me explain. As far as regularity is concerned, it is called the automated system of learning. You see, I called, I washed, I goed, I doed, things like that. So here, children, they also learn regularization and over-regularization aspects of language. This is something very important. Well, then comes stage 5. In stage 5 again, it's very interesting and important. They say that children, they start learning contractions. Do you know contractions?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Stage 5. I'm sitting in the drawing room and I forgot to turn on the light. I just realized, but no problem. What they learn is contractions. Contractions. Now, the government of Pakistan, as well as the students of the government of Pakistan, they need to realize that in our languages, we do not have articles. We do not have too many aspects of regularization in our languages, and we do not have any aspects of contractions. Rather, we try to, speak and pronounce the words completely, as in Arabic and Urdu. But the children of English-speaking countries, during this period of time, they learn basically this, regularization aspect also. So similarly, as far as the verb have is concerned, this confusion is also over as far as English-speaking country children are concerned. So this is the time when they also start asking questions. They start making negative sentences. But I tell you, as far as my own understanding is concerned, our children start their language from negative. The very first sentence they learn is they say no, no, yes, and no. And according to them, that children, they learn questions during stage number 5. There are, according to there are 3 stages of learning questions, like with no grammar, with emphasis or rising intonation, and then question. For example, देखिए एक होता है कि आप आ गए हैं. अब देखना, there is intonation of question. There is, the tone is question tone, isn't it? But it's not grammatically question. लेकिन जब शुरू में छोटा बच्चा कहता है जी, like this, these are questions. First stage, second stage is without grammar, and third stage is with grammar. They start learning like that, and also they start, forming negative sentences alongside. So I hope these 5 stages are clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now we are just going to talk about 2 aspects. Number 1 is mean length unit. This is something very important to understand. Oh, let me write here contractions. Questions. अच्छा, question में क्या होता है? There are further 3 stages. Without
grammar, with grammar, and third one was programmer.
No. चलिए इसको हम यूं समझ लेते हैं जी, without grammar. Okay. Second aspect हम लिख सकते हैं कि with intonation. Okay. And third one is with grammar. Right? So this is all we can actually talk about it, that whenever they are forming questions, okay, so they are forming questions with this stuff. So, okay, sorry. With grammar, without, yes. And then, of course, they start forming negatives also, right? So these are certain stages. So going back to the phenomena that were left, and we are supposed to talk about them here. This one, yes, mean length unit. Basically, we count mean length unit. It is equal to number of utterances, okay, then number of utterances. हम इसका you can do like this, right? Divided by number of utterances divided by number of words divided by number of utterances. इसको हम और भी काम कर लेते हैं in order to make it close to that. You see this one. तो आगे वो क्या कहते हैं कि is equal to, it is equal to MLU. अब for example, एक बच्चा है वो क्या करता है कि he spoke let's say 20 words. How many words? 20 words. Okay, or how many utterances were there? अभी मैं बताता हूँ आपको ना. Yesterday I was with my mama and we went to market and we bought some chocolates and candies and अब देखिए ना, what is an utterance? Utterance is wherever you stop for a moment. In some utterances the child is using 2 words, in some 1, in some 5, but total the child spoke 20. We can divide this 20 divided by let's say 7. Okay, so equals क्या हो गया जी? 2.6. So what is this? समझ आ गई है?
Yes, sir.
What is the MLU? Fine. MLU is the 20, 22 point. And remember one thing, as I mentioned here, words, for example. So most of the theorists, they say that not words even, some of the theorists, they say it should be measured on average number of morphemes per utterances. So even we can write here, instead of words, you better mention here morphemes, right? I hope you know well about morphemes. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So again, all this study, it's by, again, Burko and Brown, right? Now, the other important thing is when we say that children, they are going through this grammatical stage well, again, Burko conducted a test, Jean Burko. इसका पूरा नाम क्या है? Jean Burko. Jeanberko. Jean Burko. He asked basically young children of different ages. आपने ये काम करना है. When you go to schools, so mostly you will find out, people or students from class 1, class 2, class 3. तो आप उनकी MLU देखना है कि क्या है उन लोगों के at this age, right? And second point आपने देखना है कि have they passed the work test. अब work test क्यों मैं आपसे कह रहा हूँ? Because I have to talk about regularization and over regularization. वो ये होता है कि children at one stage they say 1 chocolate, 2 chocolate, 3 chocolate. They do not know about singulars and plurals. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Burko says when children, उसमें basically there is a bird sort of thing जिसको वो कहते हैं vug. He showed it to children and said, "What is this?" It's a vug, and he showed them 2. So they said these are 2 vug, 3 vug. So until they say 1 vug, 2 vug, 3 vug, Burko found out that yes, they have not passed the vug test. When children start saying 2 vugs, 2 toffees, 2 candies, 2 cars, it means they have passed the vug test, and now they will not overgeneralize. मैंने कहाँ लिखा था? Bootstrapping हो गया, नहीं लिखा इधर. चलो इसको हम एंड पे ले जाते हैं. बस last point and then we are winding up. Regularization. Okay, the aspect of regularization. Basically, the aspect of regularization is that children must, when they write go, they say gold. When they write call, they say called. When they write, for example, what? For example, sit, they say seated. And same is the case with, singular plural. They say, for example, cup, so they say cups. They say pen, so they say, pens. But when you say man, so they say mans, but this is men actually. Fine. So this is basically the aspect of that they regularize everything. Now the second aspect is over regularization, right? Over regularization is when children, they know that the word is feet and they make it feets, sheeps. Okay. Similarly, in verbs, when they are writing verbs, for example, so they say Stooded. I mean, it's already regularized. For example, stand, stood, it stooded. Or when they say, for example, vented. So what have they done? They have over-regularized it. Or. In nouns, for example, they know it's children, and they make it children's. Got the point? So these are certain aspects of regularization and over-regularization. That first, children, they try to, as I told you in stage, I think 3 or 4, that in an automated way they are learning something. So when they are learning in some kind of an automated way, they are unaware of the language properly. So they try to basically regularize it. Okay, and when they have regularized something, so at times then they over-regularize it also. I think it's fine.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So what actually, in the early, phases of acquisition, they apply the regular rules of grammar to irregular nouns and verbs. ये इसकी आप definition लिख सकते हैं यूं करके. I forgot what I said. In over-regularization, in the early years, right? Early years, early phases of life, while they are acquiring a language, children apply the regular rules of grammar to irregular nouns and verbs. Yes, got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So over-organization leads to, form, for example, forms like gold, eated, foots, fishes, children's, sheeps, and so on and so forth. Yes. So, well, any questions?
No, sir.
Hope that the objective that I started at the beginning, I steered at the beginning, we have achieved that stuff, right? So I just need to know the hands of CRs, like how many CRs present at the moment.